Hello there you guys, hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So if you do consider dropping likes, and if you do consider subscribing to the channel as always. So potentially reports are coming out now that's saying potentially, even though mainly it's overall really improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and of course the atmosphere is right tense now of course as well. And potentially I know recently we've been in a bad run of form, to be quite honest. We've lost 3 of our last 4 games as I currently said, but overall Manchester United players are still contemplating exits this summer reportedly as well, and Manchester United could reportedly lose up to 7 players this summer reportedly, including Paul Pogba, who's linked to a move to Madrid, and obviously currently David De Gea of course as well could be included. But obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself is convinced that De Gea and Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United, because he's basically said that they'll both stay reportedly as well. Solskjaer himself is looking to bring at least 5 new additions to Manchester United this summer. He did reportedly say that he's expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out, and he did basically say I think he's ready to get rid of about 6 players. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of course as well. So potentially we do know that investment is needed in the squad of course as well, because you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and he's obviously identified the key areas where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. So potentially we need someone on that right. We need a right back. I think his priority is obviously to recommend the right winner to come in. Obviously we need a couple of additions in that midfield, someone that can go alongside the likes of Pogba and Matic. I think we need a centre defensive mid, of course, that's fast and tenacious of course as well, and potentially we do need a centre back, and we do need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof of course as well. So potentially Solskjaer is looking to build a team worthy of the club's history, and I think if he wants to bring 5 new additions into the club this summer, that's going to cost us over like £200 million. Obviously we're still looking to hire a director of football to come in as well, to change the club structure and all that as well. But obviously now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's got the job permanently as Manchester United boss of course as well. He's been in regular negotiations with Ed Woodward, what players should come in, what players should stay, what players should depart Manchester United this summer of course as well. But we need to get the right players obviously who've got the ability to elevate Manchester United in the next 2 to 3 years of course as well, and in the next 2 to 3 years of course as well. But potentially Manchester United maybe should spend the money wisely of course this summer, because potentially we know Jadon Sancho is going to cost the club around 100 million. The likes of Koulibaly is going to cost us at least 100 million pounds, maybe more of course as well. So potentially we should spend it wisely. We could maybe get 2 or 3 players for maybe 100 million pounds or just more of course as well, because you have seen Manchester United spend big on one player in the past. We did it Lukaku 75 million, Paul Pogba 89 million of course as well. So maybe we should spend the money wisely of course as well. But it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of course is emphasising his targets of course. There's still some contract renewals to sort out, but obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team of course, because obviously we didn't spend out in January of course. We hardly spent out last summer. We didn't get as major priority targets last summer. We saw we got Fred in, we got Diego Dalot in of course. Well, Dalot is growing and developing and flourishing in this team fantastically well, and he has performed very well when he has been given the opportunities. Diego Dalot, he's actually a right back, but obviously Ashley Young operates at right back, so when we do play Diego Dalot, we're putting him more of an advance role, so we're putting him more of an attacking position, Diego Dalot of course. Well, for me, we got Fred in last summer. I think he's really struggled to make an impact at Manchester United, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, Fred, and for me I don't know if he's a long-term solution, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because when he has had the opportunity, he hasn't really lived up to expectation levels of Fred. So potentially his performances have been way below par when he has been given the opportunity, and we paid around 47 or was it 50 million pounds for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer of course as well. So definitely investment is needed into Manchester United of course, and if we want to be up there competing with the likes of City and the Liverpools, we've got to get the right players this summer of course as well, because essentially a lot of money's been spent at Manchester United of course. Since Ferguson retired, we've had different managers with different philosophies. Just under 700 million pound I think has been spent in all the managerial areas since Ferguson retired of course. Mourinho spent just under 400 million pounds on 11 players, so don't forget Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there's still lots of work to be done. He's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. There's still some players here from Louis van Gaal of course as well. But I've analysed this 3 months or so, just over 3 months, and overall it's been very good. The performances have been mainly good, the results have been mainly good as well. but obviously most recently, you know, the performances, it just the recent performances have been like elements of the performances, you know, that we saw under Jose Mourinho, of course, as well. So you can see where we're lacking in the squad, of course, as well. But I've got strong concerns now myself, you know, about Paul Pogba and De Gea, of course, as well, because obviously now reports have been coming out about Paul Pogba and all that, saying that reports were coming out the other day saying that he was demanding that he wanted an astronomical salary of around £500,000 a week if he is to commit his future in Manchester United, and of course if he is to sign a new contract term as well. So reportedly he was demanding an astronomical salary of around £500,000 a week. Well, potentially Paul Pogba at the moment's on £300,000 a week, I think, so he's demanding a £200,000 significant pay rise, of course, as well. And as I did say, you know, what currently Alexis Sanchez is currently on, and he's been one of our most inconsistent players, you know, since he's come to Manchester United. You know, he's been at Manchester United, you know, just over a year, and currently he's obviously the highest paid player at the club. And as I did say, you know, what I basically said is, you know, what he's currently earning, you know, I think it's totally affecting our wage structure, you know, in a bad way, because obviously now we've got other players, you know, that are demanding, you know, quite a bit more money. Now we've got Pogba, you know, demanding a £200,000 pay rise. You got the same with De Gea. He's demanding a significant pay rise, of course, as well. But Paul Pogba reportedly, you know, wants to be the highest player. He wants to be the highest paid player, you know, alongside Alexis Sanchez at the club. So reportedly wants around £500,000 a week. Potentially, it did say Man United were in the process of beginning contract talks with Paul Pogba, of course, as well. Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his deal, well over 2 years left on his deal. So he's under contract till 2021. There's also an option of a further year as well, as we all know. There's been a lot of rumours going on, you know, linking him with a move to Real Madrid, of course, as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's insisted he's happy at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's insisted he's happy at Manchester United Pogba, and he feels as though he's still got a big future at Manchester United, of course, as well. But there's been a lot of rumours going on, you know, linking him with a move to Real Madrid, you know, Paul Pogba, as we all know as well. You know, Zinedine Zidane's a big admirer of the player, because obviously, you know, Zinedine Zidane's emphasising his targets this summer. I think he's going to get around £300 million to spend this summer, Zinedine Zidane, and he's identified quite a few targets. You know, he's interested in Chelsea and Hazard. It did say he was interested in Mbappe. Obviously, he's interested in Paul Pogba, of course, as well. And potentially, I've analysed Pogba's performances under this 3 months or something like that, and mainly they've been very, very good indeed. He's been very consistent, you know, he's been scoring goals, he's been providing, and he's been fitting in that midfield, you know, very, very well indeed. But obviously his performances have been below par in the last couple of games, as we all know, as well. But reports have been coming out saying that reportedly Real Madrid may be preparing to put a bid in of around £125 million for Paul Pogba this summer, reportedly, as well. And obviously if the agreement was to happen in the summer, obviously his agent, you know, Raiola, would obviously, you know, get some of that money, of course, as well. But I think Manchester United, you know, have basically said if any offers do come from him in the summer, Manchester United, of course, are going to turn them down, as we all know, as well. And his agent Raiola has had a couple of negotiations with Real Madrid about a move. He's been to Manchester to have negotiations, you know, in Manchester, you know, about a move for Paul Pogba, of course, as well. So his agent Raiola has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club, of course, as well. And Paul Pogba, obviously, you know, a couple of weeks back, was it, you know, was speaking a lot about Real Madrid, as we all know. He says it's one of the biggest clubs in the world. He said Madrid's a dream for anyone. He's described them as a dream club, and all that. So potentially that could have concerns for Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as we all know. Obviously, this is his third season out at Manchester United, as we all know. Manchester United paid £89 million for him. Obviously, you know, our most expensive signing, of course, as well. But I think Manchester United were keen to give him a new 3-year contract, which would potentially take him under contract till 2024. But potentially, I think he's demanding wages of around £500,000 a week is Paul Pogba if he's to stay at Manchester United, of course. But what he's recently said, he's not intending on spending the rest of his playing career in England, of course, as well. And potentially, he's definitely one of the best attacking midfielders. He's one of the best midfielders in world football, you know, when he's playing in the right vein and the right manner. He's actually one of the best, of course. So this is why he's attracting interest from the likes of Real Madrid, of course, as well. So there's a lot of rumours going on about that, as well. You know, you've got the rumours going on about De Gea as well. He's yet to sign a new contract at Manchester United. There's been a lot of reports coming out as well saying that he's demanding he wants a contract worth around £350,000 a week to potentially make him the highest paid player, you know, alongside Alexis Sanchez as well, at the club. So he wants to be one of the best highest paid players at the club as well, does David De Gea. And Manchester United have not yet come to an agreement, you know, to get David De Gea a new contract, as we all know. I think Manchester United have been in talks, but we haven't yet come to an agreement, you know, to get him a new contract, and we may have to give him that £350,000 a week, maybe, you know, to convince him to stay at Manchester United, because he's attracting interest now from PSG. Reports were saying that PSG are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands, It also said that Juventus have also showed an interest in De Gea as well. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid, of course, have been long admirers of De Gea, of course, as well. And potentially, I do think he wants to commit his long-term future in Manchester United. And, you know, he seems happy with Manchester United, of course, but he's saying in relation to Pogba and De Gea, they could possibly, you know, be on the way out of Manchester United this summer, of course, as well. But obviously, De Gea is obviously still he's under contract with Manchester United till 2020, of course, as well. So obviously, if he does leave, obviously we want to cash in for him this summer rather than let his current contract run down and then lose him on the free, of course, as well. Because last year, Manchester United activated a 12-month extension, of course, as well. So De Gea is still under contract here until 2020, of course, well. But it's essential that we keep David De Gea. You know, he's been a good servant for Manchester United. This is his 7th, 8th season now, is it, at Manchester United, of course, as well. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions. You know, he's won everything here domestically as well. He's got 100 Premier League clean sheets now, you know, which is very, very good indeed, you know, David De Gea. So potentially, yeah, it's saying PSG are interested. It also said that Juventus have also expressed an interest in David De Gea, of course, as well. But I do think he remains happy at Manchester United, of course. But I think he wants a contract worth around £350,000 a week. You know, there's David De Gea, of course, as well. But potentially Real Madrid have been long admirers of the player. Obviously, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him back in 2015, but they didn't, of course, as well. And De Gea's obviously, you know, won the Club's Player of the Year 4 out of 5 seasons based on his fantastic performances. Obviously, you know, he's won the Smack Busby Player of the Year award, you know, quite a few times as well. But reportedly, you know, we could end up, you know, possibly, you know, losing David De Gea, of course, as well. Another players, you know, that are definitely, you know, on the way out of Manchester United, as we all know as well. You know, Valencia is definitely on his way out of the club this summer, because Valencia's been a long-serving player. He's 10th season now as a Manchester United player. You know, obviously he's not getting into the team now, of course. I think he's currently still injured at the moment. Is Antonio Valencia, as we all know as well. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions for Manchester United. I know over the years he's grown, developed, and you know, and he's been very, very essential for the team. But obviously now he's 33 years of age. Obviously we've opted against that decision, you know, to trigger that 1-year extension. So he's on his way out in the summer as well. I think Ashley Young's got a big going. You know, Ashley Young, I know that he signed a new 1-year extension, you know, not too long ago, which I think Manchester United shouldn't have done, you know, to be quite honest with you, because obviously by the time this 1-year extension, you know, expires, Ashley Young, you know, will be 35 years of age, of course, and we do need someone at that right back. We need someone, you know, that's young and ambitious on that right hand side, to be quite honest, because Valencia's too old, Ashley Young's too old, and Ashley Young's performances have been way below par in my opinion. He gets exploited far too easily, of course. Now, you know, his pass completion's very, very poor, of course, as well. And over the years he has been a good player, you know, he has been very, very essential. It's his 8th season, I think, as a Manchester United. He was good back in the day, you know, when he was a winner, you know, Ashley Young, of course, as well. He may not leave this summer. He could leave when his 1-year extension expires. I'm not too sure. And I think, you know, Marcus Rojo's on his way out of the club as well. His career has been effective, you know, with the amount of injuries he's had as a Manchester United player as well. So potentially, I think Marcus Rojo's on his way out of the club as well. Potentially, Eric Bailly could be on his way out of the club as well. You know, potentially if Manchester United, you know, get a new centre back in, because obviously Solskjaer's preferred the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones, you know, ahead of Eric Bailly, of course, as well. And I still really, really highly rate Eric Bailly, you know, to quite honest. He's got great potential. Obviously, he's been here since 2016, so this is his 3rd season at Manchester United, of course. Obviously, it was one of Jose Mourinho's first signings, you know, when he came in. Jose Mourinho, I think we paid around £30 million for him from Villarreal, of course. And I've analysed his performances in these 3 years, and they've been really, really good indeed. He's made 49 appearances in the Premier League, I think just under 50 appearances in the Premier League, and he's scored that 1 goal that came against Swansea a couple of years ago as well. But I think he's not satisfied, you know, with the lack of game time he's been getting, of course, because obviously Solskjaer's been going with Smalling and mainly Lindelof as a centre-back partnership, of course. Well, and to be fair, since Small's recovered from that injury, you know, when he was out long-term absence, and since he's recovered, you know, Smalling and Lindelof, to be quite fair, you know, have blended in, you know, fantastically well together, as I currently said as well. But Smalling's future is still uncertain, so is Phil Jones. His future is still uncertain, of course, even though Jones and Smalling, you know, signed new long-term contracts at Manchester United, as we all know, as well. But I do think Darmian's probably on his way out of the club as well. He's another player I think's on his way out of the club, you know, because he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time here as a Manchester United player, as Matteo Darmian as well. So I think potentially he's on his way out. Obviously, we paid just over £12 million for him, was it 4 years ago, from Torino, of course, and he did have a lot of experience of playing in Italy, you know, did Matteo Darmian. So potentially in the summer, he could make a return back to Italy, could Matteo Darmian, of course, as well. Don't highly rate him, you know, to be quite honest with you. And we do know, as I said, Sanchez probably on his way out of Manchester United as well. As I did say earlier on in this video, I think what he's earning is totally affecting our wage structure, because now you've obviously, you've got other players that are demanding a lot more money. You've got it with De Gea, as I said, now you've got it with Pogba, and Sanchez is not with that money anyway, and Alexis Sanchez being very inconsistent for Manchester United. Obviously, he's still out with a knee injury. I think he's set to be back in contention in April. I think it's sometime this month. I think he's set to be back into contention. Alexis Sanchez at the moment, of course, he's got a knee injury, as we all know as well. And potentially he's not playing to the highest level anymore, because he is age 30 now. He's Alexis Sanchez, don't forget. He's lost that yard of pace, and he just looks so restricted when he's playing. He just looks as though Alexis Sanchez, hasn't been getting that freedom as a Manchester United player, of course, as well. And he just hasn't settled in, because he was really, really good at Arsenal, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, but he just hasn't done it at Manchester United, as we all know. And he's currently our highest paid player, of course. It's obviously going to be hard to find a buy for him this summer, considering his substantial wages he's on, so Man United may consider loaning him out, or Les Sanchez is willing to take some kind of wage cut. I do not know, but Solskjaer, I think himself, has lost faith and trustworthy in Alexis Sanchez, of course, as well. There's reports coming out as well saying basically, Romelu Lukaku, he could be moved on in the summer, of course, as well. Could Romelu Lukaku potentially, he's been here a couple of years now, as we all know. Manchester United, of course, paid £75 million for Romelu Lukaku, as we all know as well. And mainly Rashford is obviously, first choice ahead of Romelu Lukaku, of course, as well. Even though analysing, before the international break, Lukaku, regained his position in the team. He got more involved, and he was in good form, to be quite honest with you. And I do think, Lukaku does perform well. He does perform well, does Romelu Lukaku, when he's getting that support up front, because he looks more effective and all that. But I think, we need someone probably better than Lukaku, because Lukaku's got a good pedigree in the Premier League. His ratio is very, very good. He can score goals, but his finishing lets him down. Of course, as well. He's for such concerns when he doesn't get enough of them runs in behind him, of course, as well. I don't think he's worth ethnics, that good, to be quite honest with you. And in my opinion, he really, really bottles it against the big teams, does Romelu Lukaku, of course, as well. So potentially we'll try and maybe recoup the initial £75 million I paid for him. Maybe Lukaku's agent has probably hinted, that he may be in the process of trying to find him a new club this summer, of course, as well. But yeah, he's done pretty well for Manchester United. He was in great form, before the international break. He was partly, he looked very, very good, alongside Rashford. They looked a good partnership together, of course, as well. But yeah, Lukaku not too long ago has just recovered from an ankle injury, as we all know, as well. But for me, Lukaku, I think there's better out there, to be quite honest with you as well. Even though I still think, he has got a great pedigree in the Premier League, as we all know. Juan Mata as well, he's another player I think could be on his way out of Manchester United this summer again. There were talks coming out of the press the other day saying that reportedly Barcelona, reportedly in talks to get Juan Mata on a free transfer this summer, reportedly as well. Juan Mata's been a good servant to Manchester United. This is his 5th season at Manchester United, Juan Mata's. He's made over 200 odd appearances for the club, as we all know. I think he scored about 50 goals in the Premier League as Juan Mata and all that as well. So this is his 5th season at Manchester United. He's been a good servant, to Manchester United. He's been a good servant, in the Premier League, of course, as well. And he's got a great pedigree in the Premier League as well, Matt. This is his 5th season out at United, as I said. He had 2.5, 3 years with Chelsea, of course, as well. But he's aging up now. He is age 30. I think Manchester United have been in talks, of getting Juan Mata, of course, a new contract term as well. But it won't be a long-term contract, considering that he's 30 now. He is aging up, of course, as well. And of course, the player himself could make a return back to Spain, because he had a lot of experience of playing in Spain. When he was a youngster, he played it. Began his career with Real Madrid, then he had 4 years with Valencia under Unai, of course, as well. But yeah, he's been a good servant to Manchester United, as we all know as well. So I think he could be on his way out. Ander Herrera, we do know he's probably going to be on his way out again and again. He was demanding more money from Manchester United. If he was to remain loyal to Manchester United, if he was to commit his long-term future in Manchester United, because reportedly he was demanding wages of around £200,000 a week. Was Ander Herrera reportedly as well? But Man United were not willing to meet his wage demands, so reportedly he was unhappy with Manchester United's offer of a new long-term deal, so potentially he's made a decision that he wants to join PSG, because I think it's going to be a 3-year deal with £200,000 a week, for him to go to PSG. So I think PSG are willing to give him around £200,000 a week, and I think it is a 3-year deal. It's £170,000 or £200,000 a week, or something like that, of course. Well, but I think he'll do well. He'll be a great addition, in the French league, to be quite honest, and I think he'll do very, very well at Paris Saint-Germain. I think he'll settle in very, very quick, indeed, because he's been very, very consistent for Manchester United. And, we've had Ander Herrera, this is his 5th season now, as we all know, at the club. He's made about 187 appearances for the club, as well as Ander Herrera. And potentially for me, potentially for me, he's one of our best players, he's Ander Herrera, because he breaks up the play well, he's tenacious, shows a lot of tenacity, he's been fitting in that midfield trio, very, very well, indeed, as Ander Herrera, and he breaks up the play very, very well, and we do know there's better players out there than Ander Herrera, so now obviously we're trying to, find a replacement, for Ander Herrera, of course, as well, but you could say it's £30 million thrown down the drain, because obviously Manchester United paid £30 million for him from Atletico Bilbao, back in 2014, of course, as well, so potentially Manchester United let him go on a free transfer, because he's agreed a deal to join PSG on a free at the end of the season, of course, as well. So he's signed a pre-contract agreement. But PSG's perspective, they'll probably be happy about it. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel wants to add some new addition in his midfield. Of course, he's looking, to put reinforcements in that midfield, and he basically wants someone to go alongside Marco Verratti in their midfield, because it's looking like obviously Adrien Rabiot's on his way out this summer when his contract expires, of course, as well. So potentially, I think Ander Herrera will do really, really well, with Paris Saint-Germain, to be quite honest with you, as well. But we could potentially, get someone better than Ander Herrera, as we all know. And we know he's not a 200 grand a week player, as we all know. And potentially, this actually got revealed there by Duncan Castles, of course, as well. But for me, we need someone that can go alongside Pogba and Nemanja Matic in that midfield, of course. And, Saul Niguez, has also been mentioned. Could he be an ideal replacement, for Ander Herrera? Because Saul Niguez, he's only 24 years of age. He's Spanish, of course. He plays for Atletico Madrid, as we all know. But he's versatile, this player. He can operate as a CDM, centre defensive midfielder. He can play as a central midfielder. He can operate on the right as well. He can right. He can play in the number 6 role. He can play in the number 8 role. So they're the roles he can fulfill. Saul Niguez. But again, he's going to cost us quite a bit of money, because he's got a release clause of 128 million in his deal with Atletico Madrid, as we all know as well. So maybe Atletico Madrid may demand that they want that triggered if they are willing to sell Saul Niguez, of course, as well. Don't really know much about the player, but I do know that this player is versatile. He spent the majority of his career in Spain with Atletico Madrid, of course, as well, because he graduated from their youth system. I think he's made about 200 odd appearances for the club or something like that as well. But he also said that Manchester City recently, not too long ago, were interested in Saul Niguez, of course, as well. So potentially we showed an interest in Saul Niguez. And I do like, Marco Verratti as well. I like Marco Verratti. I really, really like him. Man United have been linked with him in the past, to be quite honest. He breaks up the play very, very well. I think he's a really, really good player, Marco Verratti. And potentially, I think he's better than Ander Herrera, in my opinion. So do you think he'd be good, if Manchester United could maybe consider, making a move for, Marco Verratti? Adrien Rabiot, I don't really know much about Adrien Rabiot. Manchester United have actually, showed an interest in Adrien Rabiot before. Adrien Rabiot's only young. I think he's, 23, 24, is he, or something like that. I think he's 23 or 24. He's obviously, been withdrawn from the PSG squad because he's refused to sign a new contract with PSG. Adrien Rabiot, I think he did say Barcelona were the favourites, to sign him this summer, of course, Adrien Rabiot. But I think there's been quite a few teams interested in Adrien Rabiot, of course, but I don't really know much about him, but he's only young indeed. So potentially could Man United willing to negotiate a possible swap deal between Adrien Rabiot and Ander Herrera? I do not know. But it's very, very essential, that we do get that replacement, of course, for Ander Herrera. And we need a centre defensive midfield that's fast and tenacious, because Matic, even though I've analysed his performances under Solskjaer, mainly they have improved. His distribution's improved, his passing's improved, he's galloping forward more. But, obviously, since he recovered from injury, he's been very, very poor indeed. And, he's very, very slow in that midfield. He slows the midfield down. He's very ineffective, of course, well. Plus, he's aging up, so I've got reservations about him. So we need a centre defensive mid that's fast and tenacious, of course. And then you've got the fringe players with the likes of McTominay, Pereira, and as I did say, Fred. I've been impressed, with Tominay's performances recently. I've been impressed with Pereira, when he was playing before as well, especially when we had that injury crisis. But I don't know if them fringe players, I don't know if they've got the capabilities to graduate to that level. So it's very, 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 very essential indeed that we get the right recruitment in the summer, especially in that midfield. And, obviously thinking about, that we need a central defender as well. And, there's been a lot of talks going on about Rafael Varane, of course. And, you know what, guys, I really, really highly rate Rafael Varane. I think he's a great player, Rafael Varane. He'd be great at Manchester United, of course, as well. And it's absolutely remarkable, what he's achieved as a Real Madrid player, Rafael Varane. Again, he's going to cost us quite a bit of money, is Rafael Varane, but he'd address our defensive deficiencies fantastically well, and he'd look very, very good alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. line, you know, with Rafael Varane. This is his 8th season at Real Madrid. He's had a great 8 years with Real Madrid. As I said, he's grown, developed, and flourished fantastically well, and he's still 25 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. He's expressed an interest, from quite a few teams. Rafael Varane, it said Juventus have been, I think it did say Juventus have been interested. It also said that Paris Saint-Germain have been interested, but it's also said that Manchester United are linked with him, of course, as well. We do know that Rafael Varane's got a huge release clause in his current deal of 429 million, is it? Or something like that as well. Also, his performances were really, really good in the World Cup, for France, of course, as well, Rafael Varane. And I really, really like him indeed. His stability is good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He reads the game very, very well, indeed. He's also very, very good in the air. But I don't think Real Madrid are considering, letting Rafael Varane go this summer, potentially as well, according to Zinedine Zidane, because Zinedine Zidane would have want to lose him. But reports have come out from Spain saying that maybe Rafael Varane is considering leaving Real Madrid this summer. And he must have won about 15, 16 major honours, or something like that, Rafael Varane. But Manchester United, are potentially, linked with him, of course, as well. So there has been, a lot of talks going on about that. And as we all currently know, Napoli's Koulibaly, as we all know, is currently being mentioned as well, Koulibaly. Potentially, Man United have been long admirers of Koulibaly, we're linked to him last summer, linked to him back in January. Manchester United had 3 bids turned down for him in January, of course. And obviously, recently he did allegedly say that he switched agents, Koulibaly, to force a way out of Napoli this summer. And now I think reportedly his brother is currently representing him, of course. Well, again, Koulibaly, great player, 27 years of age, as we all know as well. Obviously, he's grown, developed and flourished fantastically well in Italy, with Napoli. He's been in Italy, a number of years now, of course, as Koulibaly. And, he's the type of player I'd love at Manchester United, of course. Well, they address our defensive deficiencies, fantastically well with Koulibaly, of course, as well. But I'd really, really highly rate him. But he's still got a contract with Napoli till 2023, as we all know, as well as Koulibaly. Still got a contract with Napoli till 2023. Napoli only paid, £7 million for him from Genk, was it? Or something like that as well. Only £7 million from Genk, was it? Back in 2014. So financially, Napoli would make a huge profit on the player. But I think Carlo Ancelotti has insisted that, Koulibaly is not for sale and he won't leave Napoli, of course, as well. Even though reports came out the other week saying that Napoli, maybe demand around at least £130 million if they are to do any business with Koulibaly. But I think now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is weighing other options up, of course, well. So maybe we won't get Koulibaly this summer, of course, as well. So yeah, potentially there's been quite a few targets, Manchester United have been interested in, as we all know, as well, there's been a lot of talks going on about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and you could get Aaron Wan-Bissaka for a reasonable fee, as we all know as well. I think he's valued at around 40 million. Reports are coming out the other day saying that we're preparing to put a £35 million bid in for him, of course, as well. And potentially he's got the defensive capabilities. I think his defensive capabilities are very, very good. He's a right back, of course, and for me, he'd be a perfect successor to Antonio Valencia, would, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, of course, as well. Manchester United have showed an interest in him, and we could get him for a reasonable figure, to be quite honest. You saw if I spent the entirety of his playing career with Crystal Palace, only got into their first team last year, of course, as well, did Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think he's made about just under 40 first team appearances, for Crystal Palace, of course, as well. But potentially for me, it'd be a perfect successor to the likes of Valencia and Ashley Young, of course, as well. So there's been talks about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think Solskjaer, they're one of his prime targets, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously, Declan Rice has been mentioned as well in the media. I like Declan Rice, well, to be fair, I don't even know much about him, but reportedly is supposed to be good. And it's good that also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is showing an interest in quite a few, in quite a few, young, upcoming, talented players. Of course, they're all British as well, because Declan Rice is only 20 years of age. 20 years of age, Declan Rice, mainly a whole defensive midfielder, plays for West Ham. Reportedly he's had a good season with West Ham as Declan Rice, and he's under contract with West Ham till 2024. So again, you could get him for a reasonable fee, of course, as well. But we do know basically, the club's number one priority target, and that's obviously, Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, as we all know, as well. Sancho, we do know that he's going to cost Manchester United around £100 million, something like that as well. He's Jadon Sancho, but I do really, really highly rate, Jadon Sancho. He's very, very good player. I think he link up well in our attacking line, alongside, the likes of Rashford and Martial, of course, as well. I think, I think he's the solution to Manchester United's problems, because Manchester United, there's been a narrative going on about for the last 4 or 5 weeks now that Manchester United are heavily linked, with Jadon Sancho. He's under contract with Dortmund till 2022, as we all know as well. But I think he's attracted interest, from quite a few teams across Europe, as Jadon Sancho, as we all know as well. Obviously, one of England's youngest upcoming talents, of course. But in this couple of years, in Germany, he's proven himself fantastically well. Jadon Sancho. Obviously, he's had experience of playing in English football, because he had a couple of years there with Manchester City, as we all know as well. Did Jadon Sancho. So I really highly rate, Jadon Sancho. To be quite honest, he's a really good player. Borussia Dortmund have been known for doing business with their players. Obviously, if we came to an agreement to get him in the summer, potentially, making the most expensive English footballer ever as well. But I still think he remains the club's #1 priority target. Does Jadon Sancho, of course, as well. So that's mainly, some more news to update on. So Manchester United could lose up to 7 players, this summer, including Pogba, including De Gea, of course, well. But I don't think Solskjaer will let Pogba and De Gea, of course, go, because Solskjaer himself's been in negotiations, with Paul Pogba, of course, as well. And obviously now, Manchester United is sitting 6th, of course. I think it's only like 3-4 points, isn't it? That's separating 6th place to 3rd place, is it, or something like that as well. And we saw Manchester City winning yesterday by 1-0 against Brighton. The quadruple is still on for Man City. They've already won the League Cup this season, the Carabao Cup. They won the Carabao Cup last season. They won the Premier League last season, of course, as well. And they've won. They're in the FA Cup final now because they beat Brighton 1-0, of course, as well. They're also in the Champions League quarter-finals, of course, as well. They go up against Tottenham midweek. And also, they're in the title race for the Premier League, of course. Also, potentially, they could win the 4. Do I think they'll win the 4? Probably not, because potentially, in my opinion, I do probably think Liverpool are going to win the league, to be quite honest. It's definitely between Liverpool and Manchester City, of course. Liverpool have got a good squad. Manchester City have got a great squad as well. But Liverpool addressed their deficiencies, last summer. They recommended quite a few players in last summer, did Liverpool. And I think they spent about 171 million last summer, did Liverpool, of course, as well. They spent quite a bit of money last summer, but Liverpool are doing really well. Obviously, Liverpool haven't won the league. They've never actually won the Premier League since it got founded in 1992, but they haven't won it all in all for nearly 3 decades, of course, as well. And Jurgen Klopp really hasn't got a great managerial pedigree in terms of like winning any major honours, and all that. He did win a couple of titles at Borussia Dortmund, as we all know, did Jurgen Klopp, of course, as well. But, Liverpool, they've got a great attacking trio in Salah, Firmino, Mane, and Salah, for me, as I did say, is one of the best, Salah's one of the best, players, in the Premier League in terms of an attacking intent. Not one of the best forwards or, winners, but in terms of an attacking intent, he's really good. I like Sadio Mane. I think, Sadio Mane is a really good player as well. He can score goals, he can create opportunities on a regular basis, of course, as well. So I do really highly rate Sadio Mane. They addressed the defensive deficiencies, with the signing of Virgil van Dijk as well. Did Liverpool, of course, as well. So potentially, yeah, they're doing really well. I'm a Manchester United fan. I don't really want any of them to win it, of course, as well. But obviously, we do know it's obviously going to be one of them, of course. In terms of experience, of course, well, City have got the experience. They've already won 3 Premier Leagues. Obviously, they're looking for the 4th Premier League title, of course, as well. So essentially, it could go either way. You still Liverpool go at home to Chelsea next Sunday, of course, as well. Liverpool go home to Chelsea next Sunday, of course, well, which is going to be a difficult game for them. City go away at Crystal Palace, as we all know, as well. So potentially Chelsea's going to be a difficult game for Liverpool. Obviously, City in this run, Manchester City have still got to play us at Old Trafford. They've still got to play Tottenham in the league, of course, as well. So on paper, you probably favour Liverpool now, of course, with the games, that are coming up, of course, as well. But potentially, Liverpool, addressed their deficiencies, last summer. I think they got about 5 players, was it, last summer, of course. Virgil van Dijk's been at Liverpool, just over a year now, of course, because Liverpool got him in January of last year, of course, as well. But yeah, I still probably think Liverpool are going to win the league, if I'm going to be quite honest here. But if that was to stop, City winning the quadruple, then now, I'm still disappointed because I don't want either of them to win it. But I don't want City to win the quadruple, of course, as well. I'd rather City win the league, providing they get knocked out of the Champions League, to be quite honest with you, as well. But again, City have spent a hell of a lot of money. Guardiola's spent about £1 billion. Guardiola spent about £1 billion, not on Manchester City, like his managerial career, but more than half of that money has been spent on that Manchester City team, of course, as well. And they've got a great team. For me, Aguero's one of the best strikers in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt. Kevin De Bruyne, I think Kevin De Bruyne is a great player. I think Kevin De Bruyne is a great team player, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion. Salah's not like much of a team player. He's, different. I think Kevin De Bruyne is like much of a team player, to be quite honest with you. And you've got the likes of Eden Hazard at Chelsea, I think is one of the best players in the Premier League, of course, as well. Because for me, Eden Hazard, I think his work ethic's really, really good. I think his physicality is good. His pace is unbelievable, of course, as well. Not much of a team player, but I think Kevin De Bruyne is definitely a team player, of course, as well. But again, Salah's work ethic's good. His work ethic's good. His physicality is very, very good. His work ethic's good. His physicality is very, very good. His awareness is very, very good. His finishing's fantastic as well. His Mohamed Salah's, and he fits in that midfield trio very, very well alongside Firmino and Mane. So obviously Liverpool, obviously, you know, they go to Porto, don't they, in the Champions League, of course, midweek. So potentially, if the winners out of us and Barcelona do play the winners out of Liverpool and Porto, of course, as well. But obviously, if Liverpool had to choose out of the Champions League and Premier League, obviously, you know, they'd rather win the Premier League, of course, as well. So their intentions is focusing mainly on the Premier League. Liverpool, from Manchester City's perspective, if they had to choose out of the Champions League and Premier League, they'd probably say Champions League, because obviously City have never won the Champions League, of course, as well. So yeah, I just wanted to update you on some latest news, you know, that's been going on in the press. Of course, if I do decide, I probably will do previews for maybe the City Palace or the Liverpool Chelsea game next week. If I do decide to do one, of course. Well, I think our next league game is West Ham, Old Trafford, if I'm right, of course, as well. That's our next league game, of course. But I think we've got to win at least 5 of our remaining 6 games. You know, if we've got any chance of getting that top 4, of course, as well. So to keep our top 4 ambitions alive, maybe we've got to win at least 5 of our remaining 6 games. As Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I know, did basically say, of course, as well. So potentially, yeah, you know, definitely, you know, investment is needed into Manchester United this summer, as we all know, as well. And potentially, yeah, so you can see that we're lacking in key areas, as we all know. We could be losing up to 7 players this summer, including De Gea and Paul Pogba. De Gea not signed a new contract yet. Pogba being heavily linked with a move to Real Madrid, of course, as well. So potentially, I think we need at least 5 signings this summer, maybe even 6 signings this summer. So yeah, you know, Solskjaer is playing for a huge clear out, of course, but we did that under Louis van Gaal, of course, as well. So we'll potentially, you know, see what happens. But as I did say, Crystal Palace, Man City next week, that's not going to be easy for Man City, you know, because City lost the home game, you know, 3-2, of course, and City, you know, seldom lose at the Etihad. You know, they've got a great home record of Manchester City, as we all know, as well. Liverpool, Chelsea, you know, Liverpool, that could dent Liverpool's title hopes, as I did say, because Chelsea, you know, I know they haven't been great this season against the top teams, especially, and obviously it's on Maurizio Sarri's first season. Probably Chelsea have got to give him a bit more time. You know, Chelsea have sacked a lot of managers in a short period of time, as we all know as well. And Chelsea beat them early on in the season at Anfield, you know, 2-1 in the EFL Cup. I think it was a draw at Stamford Bridge earlier on in the season, of course, as well. So potentially, you know, I think it could be the first one to slip next week. If anyone does slip, that could be the crucial moment, of course, as well, and that might be decisive who, you know, is on the way to winning the Premier League, of course, as well. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider a subscriber to the channel. As always, guys, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.